Welcome to Books with Brookes. Happy New Year. It is the third week of January, and I know we all feel like we've lived several lifetimes already this year. But I hope all of you were able to get some nice time off around the holidays. I was super lucky enough to take a vacation to Florida the week of New Year's, and oh boy, I blew through some books that had been on my to-read list for a long time, including the latest from our girl Ann Patchett, The Dutch House, 5 stars, and the latest from Margaret Atwood, which was the sequel to Handmaid's Tale, and it's called The Testaments, also 5 stars. So now I'm thinking, is it a bad idea to start the year on such a high book note, and perhaps it's all just downhill from here? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Hopefully we'll pick some really good ones for Books with Brookes, and that won't be the case. I've also been doing a bit of manual labor, like painting and house stuff, and so I'm blasting through the Harry Potter books on audiobook, which I highly recommend if you haven't listened to them. They are super fun. They're narrated by Jim Dale, which they say his name, Jim Dale. So Jim Dale is a treasure, and he does all of the audiobooks. He does all the voices. It's amazing. And I just got to this section in Half-Blood Prince where Mrs. Weasley makes everyone sit around and listen to this like holiday radio special of Celestina Warbeck, and she's singing, and he like sings in her voice. It's amazing. He's so good. And he also does a really excellent creature. So I'm loving that. I'm making progress, and I hope you all are too, on our January book, which is The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin. It's about 4 siblings who, as children, visit a fortune teller who gives them each individually their death date. So she tells them the month, day, and year that they're going to die, supposedly. And then we see, like, if that information may or may not impact the way that they lead the rest of their lives. I'm about halfway through it, and I don't want to give any spoilers, so that will be a separate book club discussion on The Immortalists, which I'll post later this month. But today, really why I'm here today, is to announce our February 2020 book. And obviously I wanted to pick a love story, since February has stupid Valentine's Day in it, and I wanted to stay on theme. Last year, we read a book called Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon, which was great. It was about kind of like a bubble girl who's allergic to the world, but then she falls in love with her neighbor, who she like sees through the window. She can't go outside. I must confess that I do not personally read a lot of romance. As you guys now know, I actually thought the Alice Network had too much romance in it. I wanted just more of a history, which I think was a divisive point of view, because I know a lot of people loved that book. But the point is, this genre is a bit outside of my comfort zone. So I'm excited to try another one, and I am really high hopes for the one that we're going to read this year. I am leaning pretty heavily on recommendations made by the internet, which can always backfire. But this book was a Goodreads Choice a winner. It won for Best Romance, which in my opinion, I'm extremely Goodreads obsessed. And I think that's a really that's a massive honor. It's like 76,688 people picked it as their favorite romance of the year. And those books, the winners of those categories tend to be pretty good. The other books that won are The Testaments, which I already said that I love, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Recursion by Blake Crouch. And those all 3 were like in my top 10 from 2019. So the books that win, I feel like, in this category are typically really good. Not always. I'm sure there are exceptions, so we will find out. But this book also made a ton of other favorites lists, including Vogue, the New York Times, Vanity Fair, Book of the Month. The list goes on and on and on. So the book is, drumroll please, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And Amazon Studios already bought the rights to this story, so we will literally see this book come to life in the future, which I can't wait for. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now allow me to read you the book jacket. When his mother became president of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz was promptly cast as the American equivalent of a young royal. Handsome, charismatic, genius, his image is pure millennial marketing gold for the White House. There's only one problem. Alex has a beef with an actual prince, Henry, across the pond. And when the tabloids get hold of a photo involving an Alex-Henry altercation, U.S.-British relations take a turn for the worse. Heads of family and state and other handlers devise a plan for damage control, stage a truce between the two rivals. What at first begins as a fake, Instagrammable friendship grows deeper and more dangerous than either Alex or Henry could have imagined. Soon, Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret romance with surprisingly unstuffy Henry that could derail the presidential campaign and upend two nations. It raises the question, can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we are meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through? Ooh, boy, oh boy. Ooh, sounds fun. Now, is it true that I have been obsessively reading about Harry and Meghan stepping back from their royal duties? Yes. Is it true that my team name at trivia this week was Emergency Megxit? Also, yes. Did this heavily impact my interest in this particular storyline? Yes. This is topical as hell. My feelings, though completely irrelevant on this topic, are so complicated on the Harry and Meghan thing. Like, honestly, I feel like I could talk about it for ages. And I'm really hoping to recruit some British people to come to book club in February. If you're British and you're listening to this, hit me up. This book should be really fun. It should, kind of get us going on some complicated modern topics like the fluidity of sexuality in society and familial expectations. And it should also be a really fun romp in the Buckingham Palace hay. Happy reading! Books with Brookes is in the Press Play Podcast Network, and our theme music is by Jonathan Allen.